Now, what we are watching the destruction of the old guard. Time is almost up. And I don't want people to get confused where they think, well, once the election is over, everything's going to change in a split second. Yes, we are going to see change. But once again, the deep state, they're just not going to lay down and take it. They're going to hit back, and hit back even harder. We'll be talking about that in just a minute. But I think we might be seeing an October surprise from Q, Trump, and team. And I think they sat on this information for quite a while and released it at the right moment. Remember, timing is everything. And I think many people believe that the October surprise was going to be the D-class. But again, with the Hatch Act, I don't think that was going to happen. So I think there was something else planned, and I think the mainstream media right now, the deep state, they are scrambling. But we'll get into that in just a minute. But I wanted to talk about Stormy Daniels. Remember, Stormy Daniels, she was in the news like nonstop on mainstream media. They just kept her in front of the camera. And we know that a U.S. District Judge, James Otero, dismissed the case against Trump after ruling that an April tweet calling a forensic sketch of a man Daniels claims threatened her was a total con job. And right now, the judge is ordering Stormy Daniels to pay Trump's legal fees. And Trump now is demanding $341,559 from Stormy Daniels. I mean, look how things just completely turned around. Now, this is the October surprise I was talking about. And this has to do with special counsel Robert Mueller. Now, he was accused by a very credible witness today of rape at the St. Regis Hotel in New York City in 2010. And reporter Jack Berkman tweeted this out today. Some sad news. On Thursday, November 1st, at the Rosslyn Holiday Inn at noon, we will reveal the first of special counsel Robert Mueller's sex assault victims. I applaud the courage and dignity and grace and strength of my client. He also tweeted out, exclusive documents, special counsel and former FBI Director Robert Mueller accused of rape by a very credible witness. Now, the Gateway Pundit, they got the documents. They got the copy of the charges. What we know is the woman is a very credible witness. We don't know exactly who she is as of yet. Her story, well, they are corroborated. The incident happened in 2010 in New York City. The woman is a professional. Now, the mainstream media is now coming out defending Mueller. Now, remember when Kavanaugh was being put on trial with Dr. Ford, and they had a completely different outlook on that. Now they're taking the opposite approach with Mueller. But I think this time it's different. I think this time this is real. This is not a made-up story. This is not something that they just pulled out of the sky and said this happened. They're actually giving proof. They're giving documents. The story is corroborated. And it seems like Mueller might be in trouble. Now, Mueller is trying to head this off by saying he wants the FBI to do something, which means cover it up, do something, protect him, or else. So I think Mueller right now might be in a position where he's kind of stuck. We'll have to see how this plays out, and we'll have to see how the mainstream media handles this. And of course, they're going to, brush it to the side. But we see right now, this is a surprise to everyone out there. And all those people that were out there saying, oh, look at Dr. Ford, her story's real, which we proved time and time again that it was not. Watch all of these people switch. Now, Hillary and former CIA Director Panetta, they were illegally wiretapping Americans. Now, this is how it went down. And this is coming from Pain, How We Dismantled the FBI in Our Pajamas. This is a deep state book. During the international manhunt for Osama bin Laden, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and CIA Director Leon Panetta were running a sweet side op that involved illegally wiretapping and surveillance of U.S. citizens. Clinton, when she was running the State Department at the time, and Panetta running the CIA, well, they teamed up, and what they did was they offered $25 million for leads on Osama bin Laden. Now, all those whistleblowers that were coming to the forefront here, coming out and saying, this is what I have, those individuals were then tracked. They were spied on. Now, instead of using information to seek bin Laden, the State Department CIA resources were being extended to keep a close eye on the whistleblowers who dared to try and collect public reward for bin Laden's capture. So, a status report was kept on each person and entity, and it was being forwarded to who? Well, the State Department brass on a weekly basis. The intelligence program was operating like a counterintelligence program, with the Obama administration, Clinton and Panetta, pulling strings to safeguard and kill any information regarding where bin Laden was. Now, back then, there were many reports saying that bin Laden died in 2011. He was a CIA asset. And we know that all of this was done not by bin Laden. This was done by many different agencies, Mossad. It was done within the White House, all the neocons, all the deep state and everyone in there. The individual that owned the World Trade Center had insurance on the World Trade Center. I believe he was going to spend billions and billions of dollars of removing asbestos, and it looks like they figured out a way to bring the building down and for him to get the money for it to build a new building. And also this allowed them to put forth the Patriot Act and bring us to war. And their main agenda out there was to have regime change in all these countries to keep their system alive. Now, what's very interesting, since we're speaking about Hillary made a very interesting comment, and it seems very racist in what she said. Now, I'm going to let you be the judge of this, but let me just say, if Trump or anyone else said this, it would have been all over the news. No one would be cheering. No one would be laughing. They'd be calling him a racist. So listen to what she said.
And I don't want to go around insulting people. I don't want to paint with a broad brush. Every immigrant is this. Every African American is that. Every, other person with, different religious beliefs or whatever. That's childish.
What do you think of Cory Booker's? And you didn't comment on him, and you feel free.
Oh, I adore him.
What do you think about him saying kick them in the shins, essentially? Start to get to that kind of political.
Well, that was Eric Holder.
Yeah, Eric Holder.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know they all look alike.
No, they don't. Oh, well done. Hillary.
Yeah, I was paid by Mark Zuckerberg to do that.
Okay. Can I just say?
No,
Can I just say you've been reading Trump's tweets beautifully.
Yeah, thank you.
This is really unbelievable because they brought it back to Trump. They mentioned Trump with what Hillary said about black people. And the crowd, they laughed. They cheered. They made a joke about it. Now, if you took Hillary out of the seat and you put Trump in the seat, or anyone else, and they said the same exact thing, what do you think would have happened? Well, we all know. Let's move on to the caravan that is heading up to the United States right now. Trump is out there and he is telling everyone that they're going to build tent cities for thousands of Central American migrants. Now, the mainstream media, they're saying this is ridiculous. Oh, my God. And the reason why he is doing this is because we need to remember what Obama did when the illegals jumped over the border and came into this country. He had buses waiting for them, and they were shipped off to different sanctuary cities where the cities received funds from the federal government. And these people They were really never seen again. They never went to their court dates. They just disappeared into the system. Trump is saying, listen, if these people are seeking asylum, we will keep them in these tents. They'll be very, very nice. They'll be fed. They'll be kept in this area until their trial date. So if they're really serious about seeking asylum, this is what they're going to do. We're not going to use the catch and release program from Obama. And remember, think about all these people coming up to this country where they say, oh, these are terrible conditions. They shouldn't have to live in tents. They're living on the streets now. Every day. The children, the families, thousands and thousands of miles, they're living on the streets. And they're criminals, and there's other things going on. Now, intermixed with these people that are being paid to come up here, of course, there's certain trucking companies and certain bus lines. They are helping them. They're bringing them up to the border, and they know it takes a very long time to walk, and they want them to reach the border in a certain period of time so we can have the chaos on the border. Now, Mexico is warning that some of these individuals that are intermixed within these crowds, they are preparing for an event. They're saying they have Molotov cocktails, they have weapons, and they're hiding them and preparing to use them once they reach the border. Now, this is very interesting because this is what the deep state really wants. They're not pushing these people up here to seek freedom and, join the United States because they were forced out of their country. First of all, we saw them being paid. Second of all, we know that there are certain companies and certain individuals that are flipping the bill to have them bust up here. We know there are certain gang members, there are certain elements within the crowds that are going to push a certain agenda. We've seen this in the past, and we know who's behind this. We know that Soros is behind this. And what's very interesting is that there's a new leaked document that's out there, and it's saying that UN migration representative and former Goldman Sachs executive Peter Sutherland is in line with Soros. Now, the paper, which told how the migrant crisis presented an opportunity for the foundation to extend its global influence and attract more money, mentions Sutherland's pro-migrant work. The foundation notes that through Sutherland, they have been able to advocate an elite level behind the scenes. Open Society are one of the contributors to the Columbia Global Policy Initiative, which hosts Mr. Sutherland, and claim that through Sutherland, they are able to influence international migration policy due to the current migrant crisis. On the United Nations website, Sutherland is described as a strong advocate for promoting practical action to increase the benefits of migration, and has routinely made comments against national borders and national sovereignty in Europe. So there is a secret inner workings of the elite at the elite level that are working behind the scenes to push all this. Because remember, to push these agenda, it takes a lot of money, a lot of resources, and we're starting to see a bigger and bigger picture of who is really behind this. And we know for a very long time that Soros has been doing this, and we talked about how the Middle Eastern refugee crisis is not going the way Soros wants because the wars are coming to an end. That's why he's looking down into Africa. You can see that Soros does not like Trump, and he's pushing the agenda in Central America, moving towards the United States. And we can see that these people, they have this secret inner workings to push their agenda. And it is their agenda. This is what they want. This is not what the people want. And if you notice, the people continually speak out against this. Actually, if you look, and you look at Merkel and everything else, the people in her country, they don't want the refugees. Same thing in France and all the other places. It's the leaders, the people on top. They're saying, yes, you will accept this. Same thing in this country. Look at the mainstream media. Look at the deep state. If you look at the majority of the people are saying, no, we don't want people just jumping over the borders without vetting them. Yes, people can come into the United States. It's a country where it allows people to come into the United States and look for a better life, but you need to go through the proper process. It's the same thing with your home. All these people, do they just keep their doors open and let anyone in? No, they keep them closed. That's their border. What do they do when someone knocks or rings the doorbell? They vet them. Who are you? What are you doing here? Why do you want to come in? Why are you at my house? Why are you knocking on my door? The same thing with the borders. Go through the proper process to enter the house. Enter the country. But again, the people who are the elite, the establishment, the deep state, they're pushing a certain agenda, and they want everyone on board, which means nobody's on board. Now, we see that Russia is reporting that the White Helmets, they have begun filming the fake chemical attack in Syria. And they're saying they're getting ready for this false flag. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the next one in line right before the elections. I mean, again, there might be two, but I believe they're getting prepared for something. And Russia has been talking about this for quite a while. Now, actor James Cromwell, he said something very interesting, and we're starting to hear a lot of individuals say this. And he came out and he warned that there would be violence in the streets if Democrats don't win the midterm elections. Now, are they saying that they are going to riot and the deep state is going to push their agenda and have people riot and use Antifa if they don't take back control? Yes, this could be one of their events. He actually said, this is fascism. We always had a turnkey totalitarian state. All we needed was an excuse, and all the institutions were in place to turn this into pure fascism. He said, if we don't stop President Trump now, then we will have a revolution for real. Then there will be blood in the streets. And we know the deep state, they're not just going to give. But we need to go back to Q's posts and understand what is happening, because Q already knew this. They already knew the deep state's playbook. They already knew what they were trying to attempt, and they're allowing them to use all their ammunition. Let's go back to post 1585. Q says, we told you proofs were going to be important very soon. New eyes, be ready 5 by 5. We thank you for your service. And then it went on to say, we stand, we fight together. Organized riots being planned. Countermeasures in place. Resistance far smaller than portrayed by mainstream media. Attacks will intensify. You collectively are a massive threat. Censorship applied to scale down impact, reach. It's failing. Trust yourself. Public awakening, Q. If we move on to post 2340. D-class coming. Narrative shift in full force. What is the deep state doing right now? This huge narrative shift. Post 2354. Political hit by D's. Regain power by any means necessary. New narrative coming. Now, this was all in a lead up to October. 2358. D's playbook midterm election. We will impeach Justice K. We know this can't happen. These people are evil, sick, and stupid. You are watching, witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard. Old guard gives power to the people. Red October, Q. Q and the team already knew what the deep state was planning. They already knew their narrative shift. They already knew their playbook. They already knew they're planning riots if they lose. They already knew they were planning all these different events that we are seeing. And if you notice, they are continually throwing more and more crap against the wall, but it's not sticking. They are doomed because there's one thing they don't have. one thing they can never produce, one thing they can never let the public know. You know what that is? It's the truth. What does Q, what does Trump, what do they have behind them? Standing ready. The truth, the D-class, the facts, the evidence. And the deep state, they know this. They know once that comes out, they're done. And this is why they're going to do everything in their power to stop this. And we can see they're doing just that. But Q-Team, Trump, they already knew this was happening. Now you can see that they're being kept busy with Mueller now, with these allegations. And Trump most likely will come out and point the finger at the mainstream media, at the deep state, and show how their story completely changes when it's one of theirs. And actually, most likely, he'll probably tweet out the little blip from Clinton and probably make a remark on that very soon. But we see right now that the old guard, they're just destroying themselves. What they're showing everyone is what they're really about, what their real agenda is, what their motives are. And you can see it at every turn. And it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on. The mainstream media is going to be exposed. The deep state's going to be exposed. They're all going to be in trouble because they can't attack the truth. They can try, but the truth with facts, it will always win. There's nothing that they have in their arsenal. Even if they try the biggest event ever, the truth is still there. Yes, they can cover it up for a certain period of time. They can maybe make the internet go dark, and I mean the social media platforms where they just ban everyone so nobody is allowed to speak. They won't even allow POTUS to speak, and all you hear is the mainstream media. But eventually what happens is that other platforms pop up. People shift and they move to different directions. I just had an interview with Bill Ottman from Minds.com. This is a brand new platform. I mean, not brand new, but a new platform. It is crypto-based, and it's open and free. You can join. I've just joined, and we need to start making a shift to different areas. We saw what happened with Gab, and we need to start thinking long-term here, because we know the deep state eventually what they're going to do is they will bring down the internet, not where I'm saying they're going to shut down everything, but they will ban, shadow ban everyone that is speaking the truth. And we need to have other platforms ready to go when this happens. And you can see that these platforms who are pushing truth, pushing an internet bill of rights where it allows people to speak freely, having a platform that is decentralized, that is very, very important. I mean, we just saw what happened to Gab. It was on a hosting company. Boom, it was taken down. Those people that know about Vote, the same thing can happen. Same thing with Steemit. Same thing with many of them. And a lot of these blockchain platforms, they're moving to a decentralized model. So it's not just one hosting company. They're all over the place. So if one node goes down, the other one is still up and running. And we need to prepare ourselves because we know this time, this day is coming.